Alright, Twitch fans, welcome back into the airplane, or at least into the flight anyways. Welcome back. We are still stuck here in cruise on our flight from Puerto Vallarta back to, not Toronto, Vancouver, sorry. Vancouver is our base for WestJet for the time being. I like Toronto and it's fun, but I was also trying to just do different things, visit different places. So Vancouver was selected as the base for this round here on my FlightAware, or on my Pilot's Life stream. I'm just talking without even thinking before I speak here. I should probably think before I speak. I still do like this airplane though. It's a great airplane to fly. Tons of fun. Challenging at first, definitely challenging the first time you get a 737. I still remember the first flights I did at the 737 back on the FSX Steam Edition, and just being overwhelmed by the amount of work you had to do to get this airplane up in the air. I thought at the time it was a lot of workload, but I've enjoyed it. I'm happy that I've kind of got a mastery of it now. FS2 Crew makes it easy because they do a lot of the work for you, but even without FS2 Crew I can fly this airplane now. I know how to get everything set up. I know, the location of all the switches in the flight deck and everything. It's more a question of just FS2 Crew just helps make it happen faster. Also more realistically, obviously, if you've got a second crew member reading you the checklist. So, alright, let's have a quick look here. And yeah, as Travis predicted, thanks Travis, you're the best. Unfortunately, we lost our LA center. You logged off at some point before we showed up, so never fails. I seem to have this way about me where I just drive the other controllers away. Oh my gosh, Travis, I hate you because you were right. Oh well. Yeah, so we're back in the flight deck again. Let's have a quick little look around here and see what's happening here. So we've got, let's see here, first of all, so most important things to always check is that, of course, we're still level. We got a constant cruise speed. What we also have here is 19 tons still of fuel left, which is still lots of fuel left in this airplane. We're burning about 6 tons an hour, so that's 3 hours of fuel in the tanks right there. And we've got, let's see, we got about 2.5 hours of flying left. Now, mind you, once we get into the descent especially, that will also cut back on that fuel burn quite substantially. So, yeah, we got plenty of fuel in the tank. So one thing you'll notice as well, looking here at the fuel gauges there, is that the center tank is getting down towards the end. We got just a little over 2 tons in the center tank. And then we're going to have to turn off the fuel pumps in the center tank once they reach empty. Unfortunately, the 737, it is a manual airplane, and you got to do everything just, yourself, by hand. Flip the switches, nothing happens automatically. Tank runs dry, you got to turn off the pumps yourself. So that's what we're going to have to do. So we might as well stick around for that period of time. It'll be, if we're burning about 6 kilos, 6 tons an hour, then that's going to be about 20 minutes from now. So we'll find something to talk about for the next 20 minutes. So any of you guys watching out there, if you got any questions about flight simulation, VATSIM, that sort of thing, please feel free to pop them in there, or anything about airline flying or anything like that, pop them in there. I'll do my best to answer the questions. I'm glad that I have gotten quite a few responses to my VATSIM video, first circuit video, which I posted it about 4 or 5 months ago now. Posted it quite a while ago, but I've gotten quite a few good responses to it just in the last little while. People are still watching it. It's still a video that is helpful to a lot of people out there. So first of all, I'm glad that that's happening, because that's the whole reason why I made it, was just to help get people over that hump and into VATSIM. That first flight is always intimidating, and I see that again in my chats here and in my Twitch and YouTube stream time and time again. I'm scared to get into VATSIM. I'm really scared to get into VATSIM. Don't be scared. We were having a discussion about this last night, and at the end of the day, it's only a hobby. If 2 airplanes hit each other in VATSIM, at the end of the day, nothing happens. The sims carry on unless you've got collision detection turned on, which, if you're flying online, if you're flying on VATSIM, I highly recommend you turn collision detection off. And it's not so much because it's not realistic, but just because things can happen in VATSIM that are unexpected. People can spawn on the same gate that you're at. So you're logged into a gate at an airport, and then someone else decides to just fire up their sim, and they go to the same gate, and then they go log into the airport, and so all of a sudden 2 planes are occupying the same space, and they both crash, and nobody did anything wrong. It's just simply the way VATSIM is. Sometimes you'll pop up at a gate, and somebody was already parked there at that gate when you log on, so you'll just have to find a different gate to park at. But if you had collision detection turned on, then that would crash your sim, reset your flight. It's very frustrating when that happens. So yeah, at the end of the day, I highly recommend turning collision detection off, but otherwise VATSIM is a really it's a very forgiving network, I think. There are a few people on there that are that are rude and mean and expect everyone to be the ultimately skilled controller or pilot when they're flying on VATSIM, but the vast majority of people are just out there just to have some fun. You know, when we see things go wrong, we chuckle at it. I'll still remember we had a while ago, but we did an event called a Real Ops Live in Toronto. Oh, this would be quite some time ago. I feel like this might be 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was a while ago anyways, where when you're doing a live event on VATSIM, what that usually means is that the controllers are actually getting together at the same location and controlling from that location and coordinating with each other and working together. You know, they all bring a laptop or desktop or whatever to a central location of some sort, and just hang out in the same room controlling airplanes, and then they could chat as well. But also all the coordination that happens behind the scenes that often happens through like TeamSpeak and digital meetings actually happens directly. So it's really kind of fun. It's a good chance to meet your controllers and socialize with them. We know them, but we never really, you know, we rarely get together outside of this online virtual world. So it's kind of nice to meet people in person and provide events. So years ago, I remember we did that. We had a live event, and I brought 2 computers. I brought my laptop, but I also brought my desktop. So I fired up the flight simulator, and then we were in a boardroom, and we had a big screen TV at the one in the boardroom. So I fired up the flight simulator to the tower view, and I had flight simulator up on this big screen TV at the end of the room, so we could see what was happening at the airport. We could watch airplanes landing and taking off at the airport in the flight simulator on this big screen TV while we were all controlling kind of on our individual computers. And I'll never forget, you know, most of it was fairly uneventful, but then we just had this one guy who was on final, and then he started to do a go-around, and you're watching it on there, and then he started doing this go-around, and then he started banking left, and then he started banking left and descending even as he's doing the go-around, and everyone in the room was like, oh, and then he suddenly just disconnected and vanished off the network, and we figured he crashed, but it was just hilarious. Everyone just like, oh, no. Just all, you know, I think it was about a dozen of us in the room just at the same time, just all watching this guy. You know, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. It could happen to anybody, but it was just funny the way we all saw it coming, and we're all like, oh no, is he going to recover? Oh no. But that's part of it. This is all about having fun. So, you know, and that's my bottom line, is at the end of the day, we're here to have fun. If you're intimidated about getting on VATSIM, yes, it could be an intimidating experience. Yes, you know, we strive to be a professional, realistic network, but it's a bunch of people. It's a hobby. You know, we strive for that perfection only in the sense that it gives us, you know, a sense of accomplishment when we achieve it. But if we don't achieve it, we still have fun. We still enjoy it. And yeah, the only time anybody ever really gets upset is when someone really doesn't understand what they're doing and ruins the enjoyment of the network for other people. And it's not necessarily rookies per se, but someone does something that they're not supposed to, and they start impeding other people's airspace and causing problems for other people. That's about the only time that I ever get frustrated with people. And if you're, you know, and again, if you're making honest mistakes and you're willing to try and listen to someone who's trying to help provide feedback and guide you and give you, you know, and help you become a better pilot as you go, then I don't get mad. I try not to get mad about anything. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you get mad and stressed about it, you're not doing it right. So yeah, you know, it can be intimidating because there is an expectation that you're going to be exhibit a certain level of professionalism when you're on VATSIM. But the best thing to do is get out there and try, and you'll find that 95% of the controllers out there are really nice guys. There's not too many women on the network, unfortunately, but they're really nice people out there anyways, the controllers. And most of the time they're willing to help you learn, and if you don't know something, they're willing to help provide the resources so you can figure out how to move forward, how to become a better pilot. You know, the motto of VATSIM is aviate, educate, communicate, and educate is right in there in the middle. It's a learning experience for everyone. Even the most experienced controller probably does not know everything about ATC, does not know everything about VATSIM. So, you know, everyone was a rookie at some point. Everyone started learning at some point. Just because they know more about aviation now than you do, doesn't mean that they didn't start from the same place that you were starting from when they were new too. So, you know, I remember that. Like I try to remember my first time on VATSIM, remember how nervous I was, and I screwed up the first time. I still screw up on VATSIM from time to time, whether as a controller or a pilot. I'll give an instruction that's incorrect for the area where the pilot is, or I might get the heading wrong. You know, and as a pilot, sometimes I'll program something in incorrectly, or I'll be trying to reprogram my FMC, and I'm not realizing that while I'm doing it, the airplane is suddenly starting to turn because of the reprogramming. So, you know, it's we all screw up. We all try to learn. We try to get better. We all just aspire to be better. We aim for perfection, knowing that we'll never achieve it, but we aim for the best that we can be. Coming up on the Grand Canyon, folks. It's not very exciting today. The P3D world does not do the Grand Canyon justice. It really does not. Textures are just kind of blasé. You can see it's a deep cut through the desert here, but they're just kind of blasé. I should really fly the Grand Canyon in Flight Simulator. I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do next with the CRJ. So if anybody has any suggestions of airports they would like to see me fly to with the CRJ, I could set something up for next weekend and hopefully go flying on one of these airports. Like I said, I'm kind of favoring Key West a little bit. I think Orlando, they have a better than normal default airport, and Atlanta I know they do. So Atlanta, and I'm looking for something. I'm also looking for perhaps a different challenge with the CRJ, maybe a turn and burn kind of stream. So do a shorter flight, but do 2 legs and get them done quickly, but show like a whole turnaround as well. Turn around at an outstation and come back to the hub. So I was thinking like Orlando is not necessarily a hub, but Orlando down to Key West and then back to Orlando might be a good flight. That's why I was also looking at the Denver, Aspen. Aspen's a beautiful airport. Something along those lines where it's not necessarily a long flight, but I might do it like a turnaround and get 2 flights done in a single stream in the CRJ. So I'm trying to think of what to do for next weekend, but I'm you know, I did the Vancouver Kelowna and I thought that was beautiful. That was great scenery, but now I'm sort of a little bit of a lost as to where to go next. There's plenty of great airports out there, so I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to approach it. The other thing, of course, I'd like to do as well is show off some of the payware scenery in the Microsoft Flight Simulator world that I've slowly been collecting now. But now that there's a good payware airplane out there, I'll probably be collecting a little bit more of it a little bit quicker. Always looking for a good sale. Especially with my paycheck the way it is right now. Unfortunately, it's not what it once was anyways. It hasn't been a tough year, but you know, I've had to sort of cut back a little bit. Mostly what's suffered is the savings. But it's also been nice because the one thing that I did find out today when that phone call came in, just after I started the stream, was I did find out a start date for my new job, so that's good. It's good to have a start date. It's a month from now, but it's better than nothing. Just sailing along, singing our song. I mean, you can tell it's a deep canyon, but it just doesn't have the, you know, the top textures I think are a little bit too rounded. Curious to see if I can find some true to life. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. Some imagery of where we are right now. See what it's supposed to look like in the real world versus what we're looking out the window in the P3D world and seeing. So we're just, yeah. Feel like we're... Let's see. Across Phoenix, yeah, so we're probably right about here. Okay. Just figuring out just roughly where we are in the real world and seeing if I can maybe even get like a 3-dimensional view of it here. this is roughly the area, the kind of area we're flying through right now, right over the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon. So this is what it looks like in the real world. This is what it looks like out here in the P3D world. Unfortunately, there's just not quite any real comparison. It just doesn't quite have the drama. Too much generic auto-generated scenery, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the sim. That's just the nature of P3D. There's not much you can do about it. But it's a shame, because that's what we're missing. That's what it should look like. And I should really fly over this in Microsoft Flight Simulator and see what it looks like, because that is some absolutely beautiful scenery. Alright, how are we doing here? 760 pounds left in that tank, so they're less than 10 minutes here. Looks like we've got a traffic target up ahead there, 2,000 feet above, crossing our route, so shouldn't be an issue. Let's just quickly check on my VATSIM as well, make sure that that's happy. VATSIM, where are we? There we are. Yes. Now that airplane is headed into Las Vegas, United 611, so he's going to start descending very soon, so we just got to keep an eye on him, make sure he does not actually start descending here on us. Let's see if we can even spot him as he goes by here, because he's going to be pretty close by the looks of it. He is about 30 miles ahead. Although he doesn't appear to be moving, but maybe it's just the relative scale of where he is. But maybe we'll actually see him as we go by. There is also a possibility that he has paused because he's at the top of descent point. Because he's going to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is about 100 miles over that way. There's the Hoover Dam. So Las Vegas is just off in the distance. Las Vegas is right over here. So he could very well be, I don't think he is, I think he's slowly getting closer to our track there. But he could very well be paused. He could be right at the top of descent point. No, I think he is slowly crossing our route here. But he is, we are going to pass pretty close to him here. Hopefully we'll spot him as we go by. That'll be kind of neat. Not too often you actually spot other airplanes out there in the VATSIM sky while you're flying along, so. Let's see, where is he? He's less than 20 miles away, 18 miles away, right at our 12 o'clock right now. Spot him, because he's only 2,000 feet above us. He shouldn't be too hard to spot, but it's amazing like how hard it is to spot these airplanes sometimes. It's such a big sky and you're looking for one little tiny target out there. Now he's crossed our track. Nope. Still don't see him. Maybe contrails will pop out sooner or later and you'll be able to spot him. Nothing helps with spotting an airplane like seeing the contrails behind the airplane to figure out where the airplane is. Oh, and there are some contrails. It's very hard to see, they're very kind of faint there, but there's a contrail forming here, so he's right over here somewhere. Nifty. Let's see if we can zoom in. There we go. If I use my binocular mode, there he goes. There goes United 611 on their way to Vegas. Just right, going right past our window there. There he is. I know, it's exciting, isn't it, seeing another airplane on VATSIM? Oh. Not much excitement here today, unfortunately. Thought we were going to have some ATC. Failed that one. Farewell, United. Well, we did see his contrail, so we did see him as he went by. What are we over now? Are we over Nevada, or are we over Utah here? I think we're cutting the corner of Utah right now. Let's see, where's my STKP? And again, it's always I love the live map feature here. So this is version 0.6.76, which is a newly updated feature. Yes, we're just cutting through the southwest corner of Utah here. Eventually we're going to figure over towards Nevada, but just over Utah right now. So I noticed some stuff here now that I've updated the new version of Sim ToolKit Pro. There's a new flight summary page. So it's got some new features on here. OFP load sheet, flight. You could just determine what you want on the map, I guess, there. And then it's got some information here as well. So these are the waypoints. I'm not sure why. It still thinks we're back here at MMPR because that's not accurate at all. So I guess... Oh, no, it's just green for start, red for end, and it's just showing you all the waypoints. Okay. You would think there would be like even like a line that shows you like where... I thought that waypoint was called Nabs. Where we are, because we're right in here, but it doesn't even show you where you are. That's okay. Just looking to see what's available on this sheet here. I also noticed that there's a Fleet version 2 page here, so there's a new Fleet page here. Oh. What the... Okay, oh, so it shows you the flights you've done in that airplane in a neat kind of drawing way. Neat. Although I don't think they're in order. I don't know if they're supposed to be in order or not. And then it shows you, and then, yeah, here it shows you, yeah, they're not in order. They're definitely not in order. I don't know if it's supposed to be in order, but they're definitely not in order. But it also shows you with the little pinging map there, that's the current location of that airplane. Oh, that's really neat. And then you can just literally run through the list and ping things. Oh, that's super neat that it just really quickly identifies you visually where your airplane is. So if you want to go flying out of a certain airport because there's an event going on or something, you can see the current location of this airplane. Oh, that's really nifty. Oh, I like that. Because then if you wanted to, you could also sort by airframe type. So let's say you were trying to fly a certain type of airplane today. Where is this airplane located? So my 320 is here in San Francisco. My other 320 is here in East Coast Baltimore. My other 320 is here in London. So you can sort by different types of airplanes. Oh, that's really neat. I like that. I like this fleet page. This looks better already than the previous version. And there was nothing wrong with the previous version, but it was just the information in it was not being published in a useful manner. This is so much more useful. You can see where your airplanes are a lot more easily. Very nice. Oh, I like this. This is great. Good times. Okay. Anywho, yeah, that's neat. That's neat. So that's another new feature of Sim ToolKit Pro. What else is going on here? Let's see the menu here. Everything else looks about the same. VFR planning. Ooh, this is new. That looks like airspace. Defining where Class E airspace is, and Class B and D, and everything in Class F airspace. Right-click to find, select, nav aids, or add a custom position. Once you're happy, click to send the planner. Oh, okay, so you can... So let's say I want to do a flight plan. Just do it easy. Let's do Victoria down to Vancouver. Vancouver. Depart CYVR. Oh, and then you can just... Let's say we want to overfly Point Roberts Air Park, overfly KIRL, and go to Victoria. Nope, not CYWH. Victoria International, should be right there. Arrive CYYJ. And then, so it draws it on there so you can see it, but then you can also hit fly now and it'll flight plan that. So it's simple, easy point and click flight planner for when you're doing your VFR flight planning. Oh, nifty. Nifty, nifty. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Anything new on the flight planning page? Flight planning page is about the same as it always was. That's fine, no big deal there. Logbook page looks like it's going to be about the same as it always was, but I like that. I like that fleet page now. That new fleet page. That's going to be a lot handier because sometimes I'm looking through the list. I'm trying to like sort of mentally interpret. Okay, the airplane is located at this location. Is that close to where I want to be today from this event? Having it just ping on the map like that. Oh, that's so handy. So interesting, cool. So some nice new features in Sim ToolKit Pro, and there's a great piece of software that is constantly being developed. I like that software. These guys are working on it constantly, improving it. So there's that center tank is empty, fuel tanks are off. Unfortunately, not much else is happening out here today. It's a Monday. This is the trouble. I often end up doing these longer streams on weekdays because it tends to be better for me. But yeah, right now that's resulting in not a lot of ATC being online. Denver Center's online. They're not too far from us, but obviously not going to fly through their airspace. We're getting away from their airspace here, so too bad. How are we doing here? Let's see here. 1855. You know what I also never did earlier was I never loaded in the winds. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so let's do wind request. Click. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to get a wind request, and this might help just hone in our ETA. Hopefully it's pretty accurate, I think, but might need a little bit of just honing in, so just try and get an accurate wind update there. There we go. Wind uplink ready. Load. It's loading. Give it a couple seconds for the computer to process it, and then we can execute it. And that added 1 minute to our flight. Yeah, also good. And whenever you do the cruise winds, you should also do the descent forecast. So let's do descent forecast and request. And we're just over barrel, turning northwestbound. We're going to start flying over the northern reaches of Nevada soon, and still on our way. Any second now. That descent forecast will come in. There it is. Let's load it up. Alright, and that really still didn't change our ETA too much, 1856 6.8. So, looks like the average winds are going to carry pretty well throughout our flight here. So it was pretty close to that calculation before. Let's just make sure that the restrictions are programmed in on the grids, and since nothing much is happening, I'm probably going to step away again, because, again, nothing much is happening. So, I believe that is the first restriction. Let's just pull up the charts here and make sure we know what's going on. Make sure that our, let's see here, show menu, chart clip. Alright, so let's get in. Okay, so there's the stars. We're doing the Grizz 6, probably for the 26s. That's the plan right now anyways. And we're planning an ILS to runway 26 right. So let's do that. So we're doing Grizz 6 arrival. Let's see. The first altitude restriction is egret between 10 and 12 at 250 knots. So that is the restriction that's in there. That is the restriction that's active, so that's perfect. So then our descent data says that our top of descent point is going to be at 1833 and 701 miles. So that is 90 minutes from now. So right now I don't have too much else to talk about. If nobody else has any questions or anything to ask, then I think I'm going to step back out of the flight deck again. Hope and pray for some ATC along our way here. We're going to be flying through, I think, Salt Lake Center next, and then Denver Center, and then Seattle Center. Let's just have a quick look-see over here at the live map. Nobody's online, so it doesn't really paint it unless you're online, but I'm pretty sure we're in Salt Lake Center right now, and then at some point we're going to transition into Seattle Center over here before we eventually hit up Vancouver arrival. Again, no ATC along this route right now, unfortunately. So, yeah, we're going to step offline, I think, for a little bit, guys. Again, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it all the time. Unfortunately, there's just not much going on. It's cruise. There's not much to talk about. Flight Sim World's been a little bit quiet lately. I'm waiting for some interesting news to talk about. Like I said, Across the Pond is building. It's coming. We're getting excited for it. The preparations are underway. The lottery's underway right now. So if you want to participate in Across the Pond, make sure you get your name in there because it expires tomorrow, or the deadline is tomorrow anyways. It closes tomorrow. And yeah, the airports and all the ATC is already being planned on behind the scenes, so it's going to happen. It's going to be happening really soon. So definitely stick with me for that. As soon as I have a schedule for Across the Pond myself, I will post that in my Discord as well, so that you guys can see when the ATC will be online and when you can watch my stream of the Across the Pond ATC, at least my segment of it. So in the meantime, guys, I'm going to step away again. barring anything else exciting happening, we're going to be back at about 18:15 Zulu. So that'll be about 20 minutes before we start our descent, so that should give us just enough time to set up our descent for Vancouver and get down there. If any ATC pops up before that, we'll come back. Otherwise, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. And make sure you like, subscribe, follow, whatever's appropriate on your current medium, Twitch or YouTube. And I will see you guys all real soon. Thanks for watching and stick with me. welcome back into the flight deck. Captain Nabs is back with you once again, and while we were away here, we actually got some ATC. It's a miracle. It doesn't happen too often, but it happens once in a while where we get some ATC while we're en route, and we did get Seattle Center logged in. He sent us a message. Let's just check the frequency here. It's going to be 13545, so let's get this tuned in here. Seattle Center, good afternoon. WestJet 2153, flight level 340.
WestJet 2153, Seattle Center, good afternoon. Squawk 5133.
Yeah, WestJet 2153, just coming in a little faint there. I turned you up on the volume. Can you just say again the squawk code?
5133, 5133.
5133, thank you, WestJet 2153. Alright, 5133 is in the box. Still got a few minutes till the top of descent, but we're getting there now. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful river out there. It's probably Columbia River, I think. Let's ask Sim ToolKit Pro to help us out.
WestJet 2153, radar contact 53 miles west of the Pendleton Vortex.
Thank you, WestJet 2153. Alright, so back in the flight deck again. Thank you guys for sticking with the stream. And yes, I'm pretty sure this is the Columbia River here that wends its way all through along the Seattle, the Oregon-Washington border here, Oregon-Washington border here through Portland and out into the Pacific there. It's a pretty major river, as you can see down there. Pretty substantial, and if we follow that river down there for a good 100 miles or so, you come eventually to Portland. So the Portland airport is right on the shores of this river as well. So, welcome back in the flight deck. Let's take a quick look around here, make sure we don't have any caution lights or anything yellow screaming at us for our attention. I don't see the master caution is not on, so that's good. Let's look at the fuel situation as well. Always important in an airplane. Fuel is time, and you always want to make sure you have a good sense of how much fuel you have in the airplane. We got 9.2 tons, so present rate of consumption, we've got 90 minutes of fuel on board, and we are going to start down in 20 minutes, 18:35, 18:15 right now. So in 20 minutes, we're going to start down for Vancouver. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road here. I don't see any ATIS or controllers up in Vancouver yet, so we're just going to grab the ATIS ourselves, or the META ourselves here at P-Pilot. Let's see here, 3037 is the altimeter, so let's set that now before we have a chance to forget. So 3037, excellent. And winds 300 at 12, so actually favoring... favoring 2.6s. Yeah, definitely favoring the 2.6s. So we'll stick with 2.6 right, which is what we had programmed for the arrival. First step, really, before we even start setting up the arrival, is to make sure that the runway is sufficient. So let's go in here to the performance page, airport search. Oop, actually cancel that because we're not on the show landing, and show en route. There we go, that's what we're looking for. So landing data while we're en route, not the pre-departure dispatch data, but the actual landing data we need en route. Alright, runway. Oop. Okay, so CYVR, 26 right, it'll load up the information. It looks like a nice day, 25 miles to 4,500, so I'm going to assume it's dry. Show keyboard. 0 at 0. Temperature in Vancouver, not particularly warm today, 9 degrees, but not terrible. One thing I'll say about the weather this spring, and certainly for me anyways, it's been, in our neck of the woods, it's been much warmer than normal. I'm going to do a no reverse credit landing. We'll do flaps 30, air conditioning on but anti-ice off. Brakes, we'll do auto brake 2, and I'll set auto brake 2 before I even have a chance to forget. And non-normal, there is no non-normals, so we are normal. Last thing I need is a landing weight. Estimating 125,700, so 125,700, and calculate. Maybe it's just me, but this guy's really quite quiet. Just check my volume settings here as well. Yeah, okay, it's matched. Okay, yep. Okay, so let's see here, landing distance required 6,700 feet. That's with auto brake 2, dry runway, flaps 30, and no reverser credit. With reverser credit, we'll use even less than that. Landing distance available is 9,900 feet. So we got lots of room available today, so that all checks. And it also gives us a ref speed of VREF 30 plus 5 is 143. So 138 is our VREF 30, which the FMS agrees with. So 138 it is. Pop that in there, and then we'll have it now in the corner here so we can reference it. Okay. We're going to set up for the arrival in just 1 second. Just give me one moment. I'm just going to do something else over here. All right. What's I going to do? Oh, yeah.
Seattle Center, Air Canada 551 with deploy level 360, sorry for the delay. Air Canada 551, Seattle Center, not problems, box 5151. 5151, Air Canada 551. Canada 551, radar contact 24 miles south of the Seattle Vortex, flight level 360. Descend, pilot discretion, maintain flight level 240.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
240,
Alright, one more little shameless plug just to see if we can get a few more viewers out here as we slowly cut our way over here. We got about 100 miles to go, so we really got to make sure we get this all set up. But really, we've got it all set up already anyways. We're sticking with what we had already planned, which helps. So we're not changing anything. So we've got... just got to set up the ILS-26 right here. So things we're going to need are frequencies and minimums in there. Frequencies, inbound course, and minimums. And it's thinking. Didn't like that. Let's do it one more time here. Doesn't want to load the chart. It's the first time I've ever really seen that happen. Got these two charts in here, but for some reason just this ILS-26 right doesn't want to load, so might have to do this the old-fashioned way here. Let's see if I can pull it up here somewhere. Alright, so let's just go into my Navigraph charts just the old-fashioned way and pull that chart up because it does not seem to want to... Okay, good, it is signed in. Alright, so that was the last flight I did on here. Let's go ahead and get from Sim Brief MMPR-CYVR, and let's go ahead and get the chart list up here. So we are doing the Grizz 6 arrival. We'll pin the appropriate charts here. ILS-26 right, that's the one we want to see. And we'll also pin the taxi chart here. And, alright, so working fine on here. Weird that it's not working in... on the tablet, but anyways, no problem, we can deal with this. So 111.95 and 263. So 111.95 and 263. So 111.95, we'll set it on both sides, so we're ready. And 263 is the inbound course. Set inbound course on your side, 263.
Top of distance if we're landing.
Went the wrong way.
172 descend, pilot discretion, maintain flight level 240.
Still got it.
263 set.
Alright, so we got 263. And the other thing I needed was... Oh, it did load eventually. Oh, good, perfect. It did load. Minimums. So for ILS minimums, we're looking at 209 feet. Alright, 209 set, and then I think we're all set up here. We got the speeds, we got everything programmed in. We should have, let's just double check the departure arrival page, but everything should be in here, I believe. ILS-26 right, and we got the Grizz arrival. I can see that the Grizz arrival is on the map here, so we're going to go ahead and start the briefing here. so we'll fault. Oh, neat, you can pop that out? I didn't know you could pop that out. Ah, nifty. Why is it listing a fault, and can I see the fault? Oh, alright, anyway, minimum runway length, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so acknowledge the fault anyways. Okay, so we're going to just get this going on here. Charts, terminal charts. We're going to start with the star here. And we're going to pull up our FMS so we can follow along in the FMS and make sure it's all set up correctly here. So, today we got the speeds already in and the landing distances was checked. 10-2 Foxtrot, it's the grid 6 arrival. 10-2 Foxtrot, 21st of May of 2020. No notes on the plan. We're starting at Payne VOR here. From there we go to Bezov. We go to Egret. Jets at 250 knots between 10 and 12,000. That's in there. GoVav above 8,000. Ovbin max 220 below 10,000. Then we go to Kepke, and then it's a right turn to Pemstu at a max 210 knots. So Kepke, Pemstu max 210 knots at or above 3,000. And after that it's a 083 vector until we get vectors, or we vector ourselves onto the ILS to runway 26 right. This is on plate 11-5, effective the 25th of January of 2019. Let's see here. Loc is 111.95.
With the 172, descend via the hood 428 right, the Portland altimeter 3021.
Yeah, 111.5.
Via the hood 428 right.
263, the inbound course. Yes, and yes. And totem glide slope height is 1520. The ILSDA minimums are 209. Set right there. The touchdown zone, or the airport elevation, is around 10 feet. We got 0 feet dialed in for the landing altitude. And the MSA, we do have high terrain, especially north of the airport. So anything happens flying south of the airport will provide us with better terrain clearance. From our sector that we're coming from will be 3,800 or 5,000 will be our MSAs. Mostly 3,800. I think we're almost always in this sector. So yeah, we can go down pretty low, pretty far out. Mr. Pro.
551 cross Egret out to maintain 12000, the Vancouver altimeter 3037.
Was that us? Didn't sound like Western.
3027 and 12000 there, kind of 551.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Mr. Approach is climbed to 420, heading 263, so straight ahead till we get 400 feet above the ground. Then it's climbing right turn 3000 on a heading of 294 and intercept the Pitt Meadows VOR 261 radial to the Dutno intersection at 20.6 DME. Shuttle climb to 5600 before proceeding on course. So straight ahead 263 to 420, and then it's a 294 heading to intercept 261 to Dutno, hold at Dutno at 3000, but shuttle climb 5600 before we go anywhere else from Dutno, unless we're being given specific vectors for ATC, because there is high terrain not too far away. Alright, notes on the plan here. Radar or RNAVs required. Safe altitude 100 miles is 12,800. Lots of high terrain within 100 miles. Procedure turn not authorized. Simultaneous approach is authorized with 26 left and local level only within 10 degrees of the center line. I'm not expecting too much parallel traffic, and I'm not expecting any ATC at this point, but hey, you never know, we might get some ATC in there. Last but not least, it's a 3-degree glide slope, PAPI's on the right, ALS of 2 lighting system. Once we land on 26 right, it's going to be a convenient left turn off of 26 right, because that's pretty much the only direction you can turn. I expect we're probably going to do it at Mike 4. Maybe might make Mike 2, but usually not likely. I expect we're going to turn off at Mike 4, taxi back to the terminal. For international arrivals, it's going to be somewhere here on the north side. I'm going to check FlightAware in a moment here and see if I can find an appropriate gate. Let me just edit the clip and add parking coordinates, so that if once we do get a gate, we can figure out where we're going to park. Other than that, terrain, obviously there's high terrain north and west of the field. Weather is looking like a nice day though, not too many, few clouds out there, but nothing too crazy that we shouldn't be able to handle. Weather, operational, no TAMs. So there's no MELs on the aircraft, everything's perfectly functional on the aircraft. Pull up my flight plan here, there it is. NOTAMs, quick scroll through here, Vancouver, daily 5 to 1300 Zulu. We're well past 1300 Zulu now, it's 1800 Zulu, so overnight they closed some of the taxiways. Like 9 we're not going to use. Let's see here, Mike. 7, 8 right, 26 left. No, it's not us. 8 left, 26 right, closed. But again, this is 5 Zulu to 13 Zulu every day, so that's fine. Arrivals 26 right, not authorized below 2600 RVR. It's a beautiful day. The threshold touchdown zone lighting is not working. It's been deactivated for whatever reason, probably for some maintenance or whatever. I don't see too much else. 26 right. Visual approach is not authorized. 26 left, 26 left, 26 left, 26 category 2 and 3, 26 right, not authorized, and that's basically it. So no major NOTAMs that are really impacting our arrival process. And let me think. Yeah, that's about it. Fuel. So we're showing overhead Vancouver right now with 6.5. We need 4.9 to go to Comox. So we got about 1.5 extra tons. That's going to be about 15 minutes of extra fuel.
2153, descend pilot discretion, maintain flight level 240.
Pilot discretion, descend flight level 240, WestJet 2153. 240. Routes programmed in there, we got a top descent, and we are in VNAV mode, so we're good. Yeah, so fuel, so yeah, we got about 15 minutes of extra fuel. We can definitely do one go around, come back and land again, or hold for about 15 minutes before we start to run into our reserve fuel. That's about it. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
I am ready.
Any questions?
Not today.
Thank you. Alright, so that's it. So I think we're all set up for the arrival, looking good. Coming up on Seattle here. There's Seattle down there. I believe that's the downtown right there. The airport should be just south of downtown somewhere. I forget exactly how it's laid out. I think the airport's over here. It's going to start loading any second now. That's probably why it's hesitating there. Yep. You can see some of the black unloaded textures, but it's loading the texture. So there's the Seattle, the SeaTac airport. There's downtown Seattle over there. Nice. We're going to fly right over Payne Field where the VOR is, which is, of course, for anybody that doesn't know, that's the home of the Boeing factory. The Boeing factory, the one that makes all the big airplanes. Let me just look up here on FlightAware really quick, see if there are any flights. I doubt they are. First of all, let's just do this. So the last time WestJet 2153 flew, it went to gate 73 upon landing in Vancouver, so that's what we're going to plan on, gate 73. Let's see here. Where's gate 73? It should be over here somewhere. Yes, right there, right in the middle. Okay, perfect. So that's where we're gonna plan to dock when we get down to Vancouver here. Still no ATC in Vancouver, but at least we got some ATC here in Seattle, so that's always nice. He's probably starting to get some airplanes building up on the ground now that he's logged in and controlling. It doesn't sound very busy yet, but he's only been online for about 10-15 minutes, and it takes a little while for traffic to build up on the VATSIM network when you first log on. So there we go. We're just about all set up. Our descent is coming up in about 30 miles here. In the meantime, if you have any questions, it's going to start to get a little busier here as we start down very soon, but if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we'll just get ready for this arrival and another leg done.
Pacific 176, Pacific airspace to the south, Oakland Center is offline. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved. Happy day. 1 Unicom 122.8 for Pacific 1768.
Yeah, it's a bit of a quiet day. Hopefully one of these days we'll catch some better ATC too. I like to stream when there's ATC going on, but especially with these longer flights, it's hard to, it's hard to find a long enough period of time where there's a couple of conditions I try to do when I'm streaming. One of them is
sorry about not calling. I was away from the computer for a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's see here. So yeah, so one of the reasons it's a little bit tougher is again the length of time. So I got to find a certain period of time in my day that is free for that length of time. The other thing is also I try to do it as much as possible. I try to stream during daylight hours, and unfortunately during daylight hours is often when ATC is unavailable. This being a hobby, of course, people tend to do it more in the afternoons and the evenings, especially providing ATC service. They tend to provide it more in the afternoons and the evenings, so it's sometimes hard to catch ATC and also be able to stream during the daytime, because I've done a few streams during the night and it's so dark. The streams are so hard to see what's going on. So here is the whole collection of Seattle area airports. So right there is SeaTac, that's the major international airport that probably everyone's familiar with. But then right down here is another little airport. This is called Renton, and this is where they build the 737. So this is where Boeing builds the 737s, is at the Renton airfield here, and then they depart them. And usually they take them from there and they hop over to this airport right over here, and this is actually Boeing Field. And the ironic thing is that I don't think they actually manufacture any airplanes anymore at Boeing Field, because it's a very long, narrow strip of airport. There was not really enough room to build a big factory. So, you know, when they were making smaller airplanes in the pre-war eras, and then this is where their factory started out, but then they outgrew that. So then they moved to Renton here when they started making, I think it started with the 707, and I think the 737 is the primary one that's made here. It's not a huge factory, but it takes up a fair bit of space there at that airport. And then they, of course, launched them out there. The only thing Boeing has at Boeing Field now is a test facility and a delivery facility. So they take the airplanes and they deliver them to their customers, hand off the keys essentially here. And then, of course, the other airport, like I said, is just coming up over here underneath the nose, and this is Payne Field. And this is the home of Boeing's giant factory, which is one of the largest buildings in the world. Yeah, this is the home of one of the largest factories. This is one of the largest buildings in the world, is the Boeing factory. This is where they make the 47s and the 777s. Because when, of course, they had this factory down here in Renton, they realized that they just did not have the space to be able to manufacture an airplane of the scale of the 747.
You need to call me for taxi at Portland if I'm online. You're cleared to the Ontario airport as filed. Maintain 7000 squawk 51.
So yeah, so then Boeing searched and found this relatively unused airport up here in Snohomish County, and they built this huge factory up there for building the 747. And there's downtown Seattle right there. You can see it kind of shimmering, because this is the Derzwiecki scenery, and they do have a lot of downtown Seattle portrayed in Derzwiecki scenery. Alright, any second now we're going to start down. Just coming up on that top of descent point right now. And there we go, pitching down. Power's going to start coming back to idle, and down we go.
Delta 172 at Schaefer, cleared ILS, runway 28 right approach. At Schaefer, cleared ILS, 28 right approach.
Down, down, down we go now.
Jet 8119 heavy, runway 28 left, clear takeoff, the wind 603.
Copy the winning cliff, takeoff to the cliff, join 8119 heavy.
Got about 80 miles to go to Vancouver. Not a bad flight. It seemed to go a little faster than the last one. And hopefully the next one will go even faster. Not that I don't enjoy streaming, and I don't enjoy talking to you guys, because I really do. But when you're doing a 5-hour flight, that's a good chunk of your day. Sometimes you're ready for it to be over. You're ready for the flight to be over. Not that I don't enjoy flight simming, and I do enjoy flight simming and video gaming as well. One game I picked up not too long ago, I think about a month ago, and I've been almost unable to put it down since. Played almost every day since. It's at
2153 cross Egret out of maintain 12000 Vancouver altimeter 3037.
Okay, cross Egret at 12000 on 3037 WestJet 2153. 12,000, that's what we got there. 12,000 for Egret. And 3037, he said. For some reason, Yeah.
8119 radar contact, climb, maintain flight level 35.
Yeah. So game I have had a hard time putting down since I got it, and I think it's definitely worth the money that I paid for it. Anyways, it's called Rock Galactic, and it's a really neat little game. Really fun, really easy to pick it up, play it for a short period of time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then put it back down again. Although sometimes you end up playing it for quite a bit longer. But it's a really simple premise. It's just a it's a kind of a first-person style shooter, but it's a co-op shooter where you're basically plunged into these mines, and you have to mine for certain resources while also repelling the enemies. But it's a co-op shooter, so it's really kind of fun. You can just play with up to 4 people, 4 of your friends, or if you don't have any friends, then you can just play with random people on the internet. So it's really kind of neat like that. It's really well designed. It's all procedurally generated, so every 15 minutes or so the server generates a new set of maps, another couple dozen maps that people can choose from, and so it's constantly just generating new procedurally generated maps. So no 2 maps are exactly the same, and that's part of the charm is you're trying to build your way through. It's a completely destructible landscape, so it takes time, but you can dig right directly through all the rocks, or you can follow the caves to try and get around. It's a lot easier to follow the caves, and there's different characters with different skills and different tools. So there's 4 different types of characters, and depending on the character you have, you'll have different weapons and you'll have different tools. So one character is a driller, and he's got these drills that will, cut through rock very quickly and easily. Another character has the ability to build platforms at various locations, so you can stand on them and mine off the walls, but you have to be able to get up there. So a third character has the ability to shoot zip lines that other characters can then use afterwards. But so there's a lot of really neat mechanics that really work well for co-op, and it's a super fun game. And like I said, it's easy to pick up, easy to learn, and easy to just do for just like 1 round. And you just go through 1 cave and then put it down again. So it's because it's sort of set finite missions, and then once you complete all the mission goals, then the mission is over. You return to the spaceship. It really is kind of it's easy to sort of play it for small, short intervals, but it's the randomness and also the full destructibility. You can destroy any part of the world. You can destroy the walls in the cave. It takes some time and effort, but you can mine through literally anything if you need to. So different mission styles too also help add a lot of variety. So there's some that are just straight up mining. You just find enough of a certain resource, and that's all you've got to do. Other ones are a little bit more convoluted goals. There's an escort mission where you have to escort a mining vehicle without letting it break. Let's get the altimeter in there, so we'll make sure we make our 12,000 restriction. There's 3037. Set 3037. While we're at it, descent check. Descent check.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 0 feet. Recall checked. Auto brake level 2. Landing data
8276.
Ref 138. Minimum's 209 feet set.
8276 on the ground at Pullman. I'd like to request our IFR to Omaha.
Complete.
We are ready for departure.
descent checklist complete.
Alright, Vancouver's coming up into sight over there. We're going to be there soon now.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
8276 cleared to Omaha as filed. Maintain 12000. Sorry, and it departures with me, the squawk 5143.
Big Sharp 8276 will clear to Omaha, has filed, maintain 12000, squawk 5143.
So just a moment, we're going to
8276, readback correct.
We're going to get handed off to Unicom because there's no Vancouver controllers on, but there are a few airplanes in and out of Vancouver, so we will have to definitely keep an eye on the TCAS broadcast on Unicom as well to make sure
8276, release 4, departure time now 1843, Zulu devices.
Make sure that we're being handled here. So we got 1 airplane landing ahead of us and also a departure on the ground, so we got to keep an eye open. And yeah, there's 1,000 to go. And now it's going to pitch up, and instead of descending, now we're going to start losing our speed. So now the speed's going to dial back for the 250 knot restriction at egret.
The cabin is secure.
really, like, you don't have to do too much when you're flying some of these fully automated airliners. Put it LNAV, VNAV, as long as the descent altitude's set, you just sit back and watch.
2153 leaving wire space to the north, Vancouver offline, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Thank you very much for the service, off to Unicom, WestJet 2153, good day. Alright, back to Unicom. Nice to have some ATC for at least a brief period of time, though. Alright, so there's those high terrain mountains to the east, and also even off to the west on Vancouver Island, but here to the south and southeast of Vancouver, there's a fairly nice sort of flat coastal plain here. Good 10-15 miles wide, so lots of room for us to descend, and if there's any kind of emergencies, we got lots of room here. Alright, so I got 12,000 set in here now. I guess we can go lower, we can set 8,000. And it'll just descend to meet all the restrictions it has here on the star. So the next restriction it's got after egret is going to be GoVAP at or above 8,000 and off in at or below 10, so it's going to try and hit both those restrictions. Still slowing to make the 250. What's the air temperature out there now? Tap of -1, so we are going to need the anti-ice now. So engine anti-ice is on before we fly through this cloud. And Timber71 is watching as well. Afternoon, Tim. How's it going? Where are you flying to now? As you can probably tell, where sea meets sky, we are on our way down into Vancouver today. Did the whole flight from Puerto Vallarta. Did about 4 hours of flying so far, and we're just into our last 15 minutes here, just on the descent. Well, Tim, you're busy. Thank you, Tim. You single-handedly keep me in business here. I am going to have to make sure, at some point, that I see if I can configure my Twitch followers to also have some access to my Discord, which I think I can. I just have not gotten around to actually doing it yet, and I was not going to do it till after I was done this stream because I didn't want to distract myself too much while I was streaming here. But I think I can link these together. There's a way to do it, but I just haven't gone to the actual effort of learning how to do it yet, so I'll have to go through it at some point. Anyways, I don't want to do it right now because then I'm just going to sit here reading and farting around with it. I need to update my About Captain Navs. Why? What does it say now? I haven't looked at it for a little while, to be honest. Let's see, where is it here? I know I don't have my Microsoft Flight Simulator on there. It does say P3D, doesn't it? Gotta add a few things onto it, I guess. Oh, if I didn't have you hassling me all the time, I'd never do anything, would I? Why did it slow all the way to 199? When was the last time I flew the Q? On stream, it hasn't been for a while. It hasn't been for probably a good 6 months. You're right. I should take it out though. You know, that sounds like a challenge. Maybe this week we'll just, for fun, we'll just take the Q out for a little rip around the patch. I don't even know where to go with that. You're like my wife. I feel like there's a horrible joke buried in here somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't know why it's not descending. Why is it not descending? Strange. Alright, we're just going to go into level change here and get down to 8,000, and we're going to keep the speed up a little more. We can do 220 knots. I don't know why it slowed to 199. I'm not really sure what it was thinking there. I'm really not sure why I was thinking that, so we're going to get it to 220, and we're going to get it to go down to 8,000 initially here. But you know what? That's actually a good point. I have not taken the Q400 out in a while, and I was doing a lot of Q400 streaming for a while, but honestly, a lot of that happened, I think, before I even had like a lot of airplanes in the hangar. I originally made the Twitch channel a long time ago, and I guess I really do need to, you're right, I need to update that. Vancouver traffic, WestJet 2153. We're about 20 miles southeast of Vancouver on the Grid 6 arrival planning ILS 26 right. Alright, so we passed Aubin now. So now we've passed that at 8,000 restrictions, so we'll just keep the descent going down to 4,000. Might need to start throwing some stuff out there to get any kind of descent going on here. How's our true air temperature? Still -2, so we still need, looks like we might be in and out of a couple more clouds here, so we'll leave the anti-ice on. It's a nice day in here in Vancouver though, nice afternoon. And actually now that we're not below 10,000 yet, I was going to say now that we're below 10,000. Alright, pretty much there, so let's go ahead and get the lights on. And if we haven't got the seatbelt sign on already, no we do, good. Alright, there's 10,000. I just want to set up my arrival gate here. Oh, nope, doesn't want to work today. What happened to GSX? GSX, where are you? It did work when we left. Alright, well, I doubt. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No, it really doesn't seem to want to work. Why is it not working now? Strange. And now it's loading Vancouver. Right, there's the loading of the airport. But it really does not want to work here for some reason. That's weird. Okay, anyways, let's do this. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Let's get a little bit more drag and let's get a little lower down here. Wonder why GSX is not working. It worked when we left Puerto Vallarta. Alright, there's the flaps 5. There it is. I believe it's going to be D. Or is it E? Nope, there we go. D. No. I guess it's E. No? Alright, we'll go with D. We'll get the closest one we can get anyways. D75, 73. And I don't know why it doesn't offer WestJet as an option. That's one that sort of blows my mind. Why is WestJet not offered as an option here on my list of companies here? Lord knows they should have their own ground equipment, at certainly at their hubs anyways. Alright, so just turn on to the downwind. We're just going to go out a couple of miles here, give ourselves a little bit of room to lose some altitude, and get ourselves turned on finally here shortly. And this is always the challenge, and controllers and pilots suffer the same challenge here of just roughly when do you turn final? When's the best time to actually turn base here towards the final approach, so that you're not going to level off for a long period of time, but you also don't want to be high on the approach. So I'm going to say we're going to turn now.
Glide slope alive.
Thank you. 350 heading. Let's get the speed back to 10.
1,000 level.
Get the altitude to 3,000. And this is going to work out just fine, I think, here. I think if anything, we will level off for a moment here, for a minute or two. Hopefully shouldn't be too long, though. And that's the key, is you're trying to time it so that you are below the glide slope, but you don't want to be like ridiculously far below the glide slope where you level off for a long period of time. Alright, so I think we can probably close the speed brakes. It looks like we're going to level off at 3,000 before we even get to the localizer at this rate. Yep, track IR. Absolutely. Couldn't imagine flying without it now. I didn't know for a long time if it was going to really be a useful tool. I couldn't imagine flying without it now. Alright, 290 for the intercept. And... come on, do it. There it is. Slope and glide slope are armed.
1,000 level.
And we should also... and it looks like it did self-activate its approach, which is great. Perfect. Love it. It activated the approach on its own. I didn't have to do anything. Got 1,000 to go. Looking good, looking good. What I can do as well is just start bringing the speed back a little bit at a time. And really, like, my goal as a pilot is whenever possible to avoid using the speed brakes as much as possible. Try to plan your descents, because a speed brake is, you know, it's killing off excess energy, but it took you some fuel at some point to make that energy. So if you have to use a speed brake, I mean, obviously use it if you absolutely have to slow down. But it's better to program, to plan your approach so that you need to use it as little as possible. One thing that often kills it is the anti-ice. If you need to put on anti-ice, which usually requires a higher minimum power setting, a higher idle power setting, then that often you'll need speed brake to overcome that. But you try to plan your flying, your descending, so that you need it as little as possible. And I pride myself in the real world, I almost never use a speed brake. Very rarely do I use a speed brake. 263. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
I won't say I never use it, because I do use it from time to time, but I do try my best to plan flights in the FMS, put in the descent information to as accurately match what's going to happen as possible, so that I don't have to use the speed brake. So that everything is pre-planned, so that I have just enough power to get me to where I need to be without having wasted extra power. And there's glide slope. Go around altitude is set. And let's go ahead and start getting the speed back a little more. Speed back to 170. Yeah, he's going to have a hard time slowing down. And yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it. Drop the gear in a moment here. Get myself all comfortable. Yeah, it's slowing. It's giving me the warning, but it is slowing, so not to worry. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't set up any of my altitudes here. Yeah, heck with it. Just interferes with the auto calls, but it's visual, so we don't really need the auto calls that badly. Gear down. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 20. Flaps 25.
Flaps 25.
Alright, there's totem, 1480, go around altitude is set. Flaps 30. Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist. Before landing checklist. Landing checklist. Why is he not doing the landing checklist? Approach checklist.
Altimeters.
3037 set.
3037 set. Approach checklist complete.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Alright, autopilot's coming out. There somewhere.
Speed brake up. Reversers normal. Auto brake disarmed.
Checked.
60 knots.
Vancouver traffic, WestJet 2153 is clearing runway 26 right, taxiing to gate 75.
Check.
73, I can't remember.
Check.
Okay to clean up.
Check.
Alright, so right back there to the
Gust
gate.
Caution. Anti-ice.
Mike 4 as expected. Check, thank you. You can set that then. So it's on. Alright, another leg done. Another one in the books. That worked out to be a pretty nice approach. I realized I didn't do a traffic call on final, so that was my bad. Sitting there chatting too much, and this is what I'm kind of mentioning sometimes when I talk about it, is that streaming can be a very distracting environment, and it's not a bad thing per se. It's great to share with people, but one thing that it doesn't necessarily isn't compatible with is training, just because training alone requires a lot of focus on top of what you're normally doing. So training and streaming, I find, don't go together, just because streaming is you're always trying to, you're aware that people are watching, you're trying to perform. So it tends to distract, and perhaps you forget simple but important things along the way. Start the APU, please.
Starting APU.
Alright, let's see if we can spot our marshaller here. Now, one issue I do have with Vancouver sometimes is that the gates were also renumbered a while ago, but after this scenery was made, so the gates that are listed on this scenery sometimes don't match what's on the charts, and that can be challenging sometimes to deal with. So just trying to spot the gate numbers here. And I see the GSX ground equipment there, so that there's the gate right there, 73, so we're going to take that gate over there. APU should be halfway there. Oh, I never retracted the speed brakes. There they are. APU should be just about there. do like this Vancouver scenery because the building is transparent. This new wing on the north side, it is transparent. You can see some of the stuff through it. It's not hugely detailed inside, but it is transparent. You can see the hotel through the other side a little bit, depending on the angle you catch it at. Hey, watch where you're going, jerk. Lights and doors.
Check. 3 minutes.
Perfect. I don't know if you have a marshaller here because we've got a visual guidance
Cabin
docking
crew,
system today.
disarm doors and cross-check.
Alright, so just make sure you did turn the taxi
Doors
light on.
disarmed. APU on the bus.
Excellent. You can even see the reflection of the mountains there in the glass a little bit. But you can also see through the glass. It's overall, it's a really nice effect. It's really hard to see that. And we're almost on center. Let me go too far this way. There we go. I think I stopped. Just a tiny bit of power there. There we go. Alright, so he got those, so yeah, we can go ahead and shut her down. He did say we got the 3 minutes as well. The anti-collision light goes off, and that's it. Let's go ahead and get that bridge docked. Do. Gonna take a second because it's gotta. Waiting for other services to complete. Darn you. I find it often hangs up at this point. Frustrating. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Weird. Now it seems to have really kind of messed with. So we'll restart it there. Shutdown checklist. Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps, off. Probe heat, off. Hydraulic panel, set. Flaps, up. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers,
Cut off. Cut off.
weather radar,
Off.
off. Shutdown checklist complete.
I'm just not having any luck with this today, am I? It really does not want to work for me here. There we go. There it comes. Okay. Whoa, it really did not want to do that, did it? Alright, but anyways, we made it. Let's just check here. But yeah, Pilot's Life has cycled through, so there's the next flight already queued up back to Puerto Vallarta again. Let me just mute that really quick. But yeah, and so there we are. So what do we got here? 340 experience points, 140 hours in the airplanes. Not too bad. 51 flights done so far. It's been a lot of flights, and every last one of them has been live streamed on Twitch. So I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Yeah, I'm still debating what we're going to do for our next job, because I think after this season's over, I really kind of want to do some CRJ flying, but I really want FS2 crew to work for that before that, and or GSX, something to bump up the immersion a little bit, because Microsoft Flight Simulator is really nice, but it doesn't feel like airline flying because you're doing everything yourself, and that's not realistic in the airlines. The airlines, you got tons of people doing different jobs helping you out, so yeah, I find it a little bit, just a little odd. Did they open the door? They did. Okay, so we can go ahead and Empty board. And, but yeah, that's it. So, another leg logged, another day, another $1 for me, and, yeah, what a fun time, though. So, thanks, guys, for watching the stream. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to post that Discord one more time. I think it's in here. I think I posted it in here already. But if you're new to watching the channel, then it might not appear still in the chat history here. So let me just see if I can find it really quickly here. Nope, doesn't want to show it anymore. But anyone that's not a member of the Discord, that's where I'm going to be trying to post at least the schedule of my upcoming streams. I don't know what I'm going to do later this week. I'm going to try and post something in the next day or two. I really do want to get some stuff in there. It's just a matter of just finding the time. So in the meantime, here it comes. So there's the Discord server. You can log in even as a guest without being a member, and at least certainly view the schedule. I don't know what's coming up for sure this week, but I'm going to try and figure it out before the end of the day today and post it in there, so anybody that wants to watch, participate, join me at all, whether as a controller or as a pilot, feel free. In the meantime, that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it was great fun. Some really nice scenery. Glad to get some ATC along the way, and glad to have some great chats with everybody. But I gotta go, so thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and we will see you guys all real soon.